Welcome to BM Sculptures. I'm Blake, and in this video I'm going to show you how I carved a horse head out of 11 gallons of epoxy resin and 6 different species of wood. First thing I need to do is mill up all this rough lumber by bringing them to the joiner, planer, and then table saw, making sure they're nice and perfectly square and flat. Before I do my glue up, I need to take care of this Buckeye burl. This Buckeye has a lot of live edges, which has bark and debris and little dirt in all these different little holes. This all needs to be cleaned out before doing the epoxy pour. This Buckeye burl has a ton of these little bark cavities spread throughout every single beam, so this took a long time to do, but in the end it's worth it. Now it's on to one of my favorite parts of these sculptures, and that is arranging all these different species of wood into a solid block. There's a lot more that goes into this than just putting them in a random order. I have to think about the finished sculpture and what it's going to look like, as well as where the epoxy is going to be. So it's a lot more than just putting them all randomly together. Hey, move it or lose it, buddy. I do all my epoxy pouring inside the house for a couple different reasons. 1, it's temperature controlled. 2, there is a lot less dust in this room than outside in the workshop. And 3, I have a full-time employee bubble blaster that torches the hell out of bubbles. I like to throw all my epoxy into a vacuum chamber and degas everything before making my first pour. This just ensures that there are no bubbles on my very first pour, and any bubbles that do come up are probably due to the pores and air gaps in the wood, not the epoxy. And the bubbles that do come up out of the wood I'm not too worried about, because the bubble blaster is keeping a steady watch. Good job, you little biscuit smuggler. Here's your payment. Enjoy. And we got a problem here. Check this out. This is a first for me. I've had epoxy float on smaller, like tabletop forms, but something this big, I had no idea that it would float. And you live and you learn, I guess. You may be wondering, why is there a 4x4 in the bottom of your mold? You're probably not alone. And I'm not going to tell you. What do you think it's there for? I'm very curious to see what your guys' guesses are. And without further ado, it's been 3 weeks working on this and we finally get to start carving. And here we are after day one. I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. I just basically roughed out the shape and we're gonna go from there and hit it hard tomorrow morning. What do you guys think? Can you see the horse head yet? Now that I'm really close to the final shape that I want this thing, it's time to start sanding. And with sanding, I'll start with 40 grit and go all the way up to 5,000 on the epoxy section. I will also use a couple little card scrapers and different little things to refine the details of this sculpture. Now that I'm down to the home stretch on this sculpture, it's time to start working on the pedestal. Here I picked up some pallet wood, and I believe this is rubber wood, and what's great about this wood is the grain does not show when you paint, so this is the perfect wood to use for this pedestal. Then I head over to my buddy Alex's shop, where he is quickly becoming the master of displaying these sculptures. He's got all the fancy leveling techniques to get this thing displayed at the right angle that I want, and I would not be able to do this without him, so thank you, buddy, much appreciated. I also wanted to try something completely new on this sculpture, and that is do a glossy varnish on not only the epoxy but the wood to make the entire sculpture glossy. So this is a first for me. I'm a little nervous, but we're going to do it and check out the big reveal.